Should be topic number 2 says, was that brother starving or was he just trying to be nice? This came with several attachments. Let me share the first one here. So this takes us to X again. This is from Breaking 911. It says, OMG, Rep. Nancy Mace puts text screenshots into the congressional record showing Michael Eric Dyson hitting on her and sending her, quote, kissy emojis after calling her racist. This came with a video. Let's tune in and see what it is they're talking about.
Sound again, Coco.
Sound again? Okay. Let me fix it. I don't know why this is happening. Let me share it again. Okay, let's hope that it works this time.
I would like to also enter into the record a screenshot of a text message I received from the esteemed professor from Vanderbilt, Michael Eric Dyson, after my CNN interview, begged me for photos. In this text, he says, after calling me racist on CNN, shh, don't tell anybody, we look good together, and sent me a kissy emoji.
Without
then
objection.
the guy says I'm gorgeous in all these photos. I don't think he's that bent out of shape on how anyone pronounces Kamala. And if we're going to have that standard, you got to hold it to both sides, not just one or the other. I would like to also enter into the
So that's what's our boy name? Michael Eric Dyson. You guys might remember. It's him right here. His claim to fame. He got on the scene doing some Tupac documentaries and stuff back in the day, and I always remember thinking to myself, why is this big light-skinned Negro have cornrows? And you could tell he's like a professor. If anyone remembers that, drop a 1 in the chat. Who remembers when he did the Tupac documentary with the cornrows, just trying to be down, so to speak? It was very problematic. Although he speaks well on a lot of different issues, this hair is not a good look. This came with another link where he's copping pleas, so we'll tune into that next.
This is the text exchange. I sent her, Abby Phillip, the host of the show, suggested we take pictures. I said, let's take a picture. She said, Abby said, when you post it, then tag me too, and then we'll have fun. Because the whole point was 2 bipolar opposites. Michael Eric Dyson on one side, Nancy Mace on the other. So I sent her and she said, great pick. And I said, shh. Don't tell anybody, we look good together, with a laughing face and a kissy face. And my point was, shh, don't tell anybody, because we are bipolar opposites. You're on one side of the spectrum and I'm on the other side of the spectrum. And she said, ha, 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 ha. And I said, well, your gorgeousness makes the photo, so there's that. And a little smiley face. Again, I'm just saying that trying to be nice to her in the belief and the effort that if I'm nice to her and I prove that we don't have any bitter consequences from our fracas on television, that we can be relatively kind to each other. And I'm being nice to her. There's no hitting on you. I said, by the way, I've spoken twice at the Citadel. She said, oh, that's awesome. And sent 3 American flags. And I hit the exclamation point. She put a heart on the, well, your gorgeousness makes the photo, so there's that. Then she removed the heart two days later because she knew she was up to some mayhem. I ain't tried to hit on this woman on no day.
Why are you being nice to white women is the question, though. So as it turned out, 2 folks posted a prompt on this, and one of them posted, let me find where I'm at. One of them posted this YouTube video. Let me cue that up for you guys. We'll watch it, and then we will discuss it. So this one is a little bit longer. You can sit back, take it all in, and then we'll discuss.
White disregard for the humanity of Black people.
So now you're calling me racist.
I didn't say. I just said you weren't a racist.
That is complete.
You don't have to intend racism to
No. You are intending that
your disrespect of Kamala Harris is part and parcel of a disrespect.
It's offensive,
Congresswoman,
and it's
why can't you just?
offensive.
I'm not calling you a racist. I'm telling you what the practice is.
You are. You absolutely are.
Let me get it. No, what's disgusting is your disrespect of her.
Professor. So I don't want to hear it. It's fake outrage. I would like to also enter into the record a screenshot of a text message I received from the esteemed professor from Vanderbilt, MICHAEL ERIC DYSON, after my CNN interview, begged me for photos. In this text, he says, after calling me racist on CNN, shh, don't tell anybody, we look good together, and sent me a kissy emoji.
Yeah, MICHAEL ERIC DYSON. Just last month, a clip of him went viral on CNN where he was WWE wrestling with this woman on TV, only to make Black women emotional and weaponize that energy for Kamala's benefit.
Well, if you want to talk about misinformation, we can talk about Kamala Harris's Google ads, like literally taking headlines from mainstream media and rewriting them, which should be against Google ads policies. And to date, more than 3 weeks in, Kamala Harris hasn't given a single interview. She hasn't come on your program. She's not answering questions.
It's
She's not
Kamala,
giving
first
speeches.
of all. It's not Kamala. It's Kamala. And she's not yet the candidate. She's only been in office, only been a candidate for 3.5
She's been
weeks.
vice president for 3.5 years.
Yeah, and Trump went a whole...
She's aided and abetted by mainstream media. If you saw the headline by a neighboring network a couple weeks ago, when Donald Trump came out with his no taxes on tips policy, all of the headlines on mainstream media were derogatory. Kamala Harris comes out with
Kamala
Harris comes out with her policies on no taxes on tips, which is Donald Trump's policy, by the way. All of the headlines on mainstream media were positive and glorious and thoughtful.
I guess y'all are standing up for him because he didn't say any of this today. Well, everything you're saying is nothing he's ever said.
One of the things that we learned about her policy that she's going to roll out is support for a ban on price gouging.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think reasonable people would ask, what does that mean? What does that really mean? And how is the government going to be involved in it? Here's Noah Rothman in the National Review. He describes this policy as a rank pander to the economically illiterate. And despite the presence of many who fit that description in Congress, they understand that allowing the executive branch to functionally set prices is a brain-dead idea that would only hurt consumers in the long run. I mean, is this just a ploy? Because it sounds kind of like it.
Well, look, if you like it, it's called good policy. If you don't like it, you call it pandering.
But is it really policy? I mean, price gouging?
Look, if she could do that, Lord have mercy. I mean, she might need to be the Pope as opposed to the president, but she's able at least to set the tone. Here's what's important. First of all, in terms of Kamala not speaking about Vice President Harris speaking about issues, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Kamala's.
You had it right. You almost got it.
I will say Kamala's name any way that I want to.
No,
but
you mispronounced her and you also misjudged her.
I just did, and I'll do it again.
Mispronouncing her name.
That's a refusal to acknowledge her humanity.
If I purposely mispronounced your name, that would not be appropriate.
Policies are Joe Biden's policies. She owns
You're
it.
normalizing that kind of viciousness, man.
33 times. She was the deciding vote, and she was
the vice
on
president.
Joe Biden's bill. She was
know
33 times the deciding vote on Joe Biden's bills in the Senate.
And let me just say this, because this Congresswoman is a wonderful human being, but when you disrespect Kamala Harris by saying you will call her whatever you want, I know you don't intend it to be that way. That's the history and legacy of white disregard for the humanity of Black people.
So now you're calling me racist.
I didn't say. I just said you weren't a racist.
That is complete.
You don't have to intend racism to
No. You are intending that
your disrespect of Kamala Harris is part and parcel of a disrespect.
It's offensive,
Congresswoman,
and it's
why can't you just?
offensive.
I'm not calling you a racist. I'm telling you what the practice is.
You are. You absolutely are.
had the player
Yes,
went
let me-
outside.
let me get
Disrespecting.
it.
No, what's disgusting
That
is
is
your
disgusting.
disrespect of her.
Professor.
This gentleman said,
You know what?
I
You know
didn't
what's
know her name.
disgusting
He's
to
trying to
women
do
is
it.
her disrespect of women. She doesn't know what a woman is. And if 25 years ago,
White
I
women don't
became-
have the ability to tell black women who paid the price of blood to make this country what it is to tell them they're not real women.
25
They
years
care for your
ago,
babies
25 years
and
ago,
respected
I
your
became
humanity.
the first woman to graduate from the Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina. I
So call her
fought my
name
way
right.
through it.
So
Tooth
pronounce
and
her
nail,
name
blood,
right.
sweat,
Let
and
me
tears.
So
actually
pronounce her name
And
right.
Kamala Harris, if I were
Kamala.
a man,
You said
I
this
will
don't
say
call you Nancy.
any way that I want.
It's
Come on,
Kamala.
it's
You're
Kamala.
doing this on purpose,
I am
Congresswoman.
not.
That's disrespectful.
Just a second.
If,
You can't expect people to
if
respect
a
your
man
service
put on
if
a
you don't
skirt
respect
and walked
hers.
that stage 25 years ago, she
You're a
would have
white
said
woman
it. She would have
disrespecting a
taken
black
that
woman. That is
achievement away from
problematic.
women.
Professor Dyson,
That's
let me get
disgusting.
That's their main strategy of deflection. If someone mispronounces Kamala's Indian name, they'll bust up the whole conversation and flip the discussion from a serious topic like the economy, the border, or inflation to a lecture about this pretending chameleon's name that a lot of people can't seem to get right, by the way. Most black people look at her name and pronounce it as Kamala. Even her own supporters, they just don't know how to say her name. But these folks, they'll start falling out and throwing tantrums over this lady's name to deflect attention away from real issues. It's all a game for these people, straight up WWE. But do you know right after Michael Eric Dyson had that exchange with Nancy on CNN, his fake phony self slid her flirty text messages? This is after he insinuated she was racist for not saying Kamala's name right.
My colleagues across the aisle said that those that cannot pronounce Kamala's name correctly are elementary age children. I would like to enter into the record an article by Newsweek saying Bill Clinton pronounces Kamala Harris' name wrong during DNC speech. Bill Clinton, along with Al Sharpton, rapper Lil Jon. Let's not forget that Joe Biden can't say her name right. Neither can Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. And this morning on Morning Joe, Joan Baez called her a camel. So I don't want to hear it. It's fake outrage. I would like to also enter into the record a screenshot of a text message I received from the esteemed professor from Vanderbilt, Michael Eric Dyson, after my CNN interview, begged me for photos. In this text, he says, after calling me racist on CNN, shh, don't tell anybody, we look good together, and sent me a kissy emoji.
Without
Then
objection.
the guy
Order.
says I'm gorgeous in all these photos. I don't think he's that bent out of shape on how anyone pronounces Kamala. And if we're going to have that standard, you got to hold it to both sides, not just one or the other.
Yeah, while Michael Derrick Jackson Jr. was writing love letters to black women on social media after the Shade Room posted his fake rant, he was sliding kissy faces to that same white woman he was going in on. I'm telling you, you can't make this stuff up. While he was out here writing these love letters, faking like he was protecting black women by calling out a white woman mispronouncing a red dot Indian's name, he was asking this same white woman for pictures.
Just a love note for black women this morning. For little girls, for aunties, for grandmothers, for wives, for partners, for lovers, for teachers, ditch diggers, engineers, around the way girls, to presidential candidates. We black men who have too often failed you, who have too often not said the right thing at the right time, who have been vulnerable to the claim that we have forgotten what you have done for us, the magnificence of your service to our people, the beauty and power of your spirit at times when we flagged.
Now, Michael Derrick Jackson Jr., stop playing in our faces. He done had that cataract surgery. Now he's trying to get it in with other women outside his marriage. I'm about to call the surgeon and tell them to put them old lens back in. Writing love notes to black women and calling a white woman a racist in front of black women, only to pull at the heartstrings and the emotions of black women and weaponize our own identity against us. How was the lady so racist, Michael Eric Dyson, but you told her y'all look good together? And by the way, where's your black wife at, sir? Where is she? I know she won't be happy with this. Up here calling the lady gorgeous, asking for pictures. Like what? And then this Democrat shield went on the Breakfast Club to defend Kamala once again after Dr. Stein and Dr. Ware was on the Breakfast Club and embarrassed Angela Rye-Bread.
So I think it's right for us to acknowledge that in this election, we are choosing between that on the one hand and a woman who is the representative of all that is great and good about America. As a black woman, and black women already running stuff, they might as well run the country.
That's right.
I mean, at the end of the day, without black women, where would we be, right? I wouldn't be here. Most of us wouldn't be here without a black woman. And a black woman, not only in terms of physically, but in terms of the mental approach.
You know, that's the most disrespectful part of all of this. Allowing this woman to cosplay as a Black American woman, putting on a Black woman's costume and accent, then really she's hijacking Black history by acting like she's one of us. Y'all do know when there's a real Black woman candidate after Kamala, she'll be robbed of all this fanfare that they're giving to Kamala as the first so-called Black woman when she's not even Black. Listen, people don't like hearing the truth. They love when people lie and pander to them. But I'm sorry, Michael Derek Jackson playing with their emotions, lying to you, pandering to you, he's the enemy. This man spent all that energy defending Kamala, the cosplaying chameleon, an Indian woman, just to send these messages to the same woman he called racist on TV, trying to show out for Black women, telling her they look good together. And isn't he married to a Black woman? Where's his wife? Special thank you to Roland C. I appreciate you, Roland, for all of your support, as well as John C., One Community, Emmanuel.
Yes, indeed. Man is laying it on thick. Black Steel said he's cooked. Jose Braun said shit show. Shout out to Ty Crew, who's out there. He said unmatched silver tongue. Trigger happy only could say LOL. What a shit show indeed. What a shit show indeed. Before we go any further, let me introduce our boy, our brother, Anthony McPhail. Anthony, how are you this week? Anthony, your mic is muted if you're talking.
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you this week?
Man, I'm doing fine, man. You know, just trying to maintain, man. Yeah.
I hear you.
Thanks for coming. How's everybody on the panel doing, man?
I'm good.
What's up, Anthony? Man, hope everything good, bro. Yes.
All right. Yeah, I got this doggone surround sound, man. I hope is the sound coming in right?
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Anthony, I'll start with you. I assume you saw these videos. What say you to all of this?
Hey, man, to be honest, man, I called about the last almost 10 minutes because I was trying to get my phone right, man, so I could join the panel. so yeah, I was trying to work on that. I caught the last several minutes of it though, man. I think I had seen some earlier in the week on one of the shows, man. But yeah, man, it was hilarious to me, man, because man, y'all know who Michael Eric Dyson is, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know, man. He one of them Negroes who is just like, you can't even take him seriously, man, because I mean, he run his mouth and he'll say 1,000 words and don't be saying a goddamn thing. You know what I'm saying? Just came for the Democratic Party and everything. I mean, not that I'm like for the Republicans or nothing like that, but I mean, he ain't nothing but a little mouthpiece for them, man. And I don't know, man. I was disappointed to me. I ain't have too much to say about it. It was comedy to me, man. I'll leave it at that, man.
Yeah, it was interesting. I think Pink Book Lessons shout out to Pink Book Lessons. I think they did a good job pointing out you guys are on this panel discussing, supposedly discussing policy and whatnot. You guys are arguing about the pronunciation of Kamala. Now, I know that she made a stink about it when she ran on the VP ticket. She made it a point. In fact, I cracked a joke about it on Shoot the Breeze. She made it a point to state that her name is Kamala, not Kamala. But, man, based on how that's spelled and whatnot, people will say Kamala. How about we deal with some real policy and whatnot? And these guys spend that time just arguing about the pronunciation of this woman's name. Now, I understand as a white woman being disrespectful. I get that too. But damn it, what are you doing being nice to the white woman behind the scenes, in the DMs, as the youth them said? What are you doing in the DMs? Buana, what was the brother starving, or was he just trying to be nice?
No, I believe he was starving a little bit. I believe he was fishing. But first of all, let me say this. Shout out to Abby Phillips. Abby Phillips, to me, the CNN presenter, that black sister, she's one of the finest women there. Anyway, she's a very fine sister. Shout out to her. But this sister right here. But I think he was trying to haul at her. I think he was trying to keep it on the DL. But Dyson needs to understand that he's an older gentleman, and he don't need to put him. If he trying to mess with these chicks, he need to put them in compromising situations as well, because these chicks, they out for blood. You know, they trying to seek any little edge to make themselves popular, even if that means sinking you. So you need to think with your the brain on top of your head rather than that other brain, because you aren't making wise decisions, brother. You need to understand that Karen is always a Karen, no matter if she's have on slippers and curlers in her head walking out in the streets, or if she's if she has on a nice pantsuit. A Karen is a Karen. So you need to use your brain. You know, use your brain. I think that right now we seeing a ton of black men, I don't know, being heavily discredited. You know, just today I was watching the Republican, this guy named Mark Robinson, lieutenant. He was running for governor of North Carolina, and they found some crazy things about him. You know, and he was visiting porn sites and calling himself the Black Nazi, and saying that he wishes slavery come back. He was saying that he slept with his sisters, he slept with his wife's sister, all kind of madness. You know, so it's like, I understand that being the silly season right now, and for people who have skeletons in their closet or certain things to hide, sometimes this stage ain't for you. Maybe you should just, you know, relax yourself, man, because we in the exposed era, and things that's hidden beneath the scene, they'll get exposed, man. They'll get exposed during this time. And I understand that politics may make some strange bedfellows. So you would find somebody who's extremely conservative doing some skullduggeries, you know, when the cameras is not on them. And some liberal guys, this guy is he's a respected professor, but when and a race man, he's supposed to be a race man as well, you know, but obviously when the camera is not on him, he trying to peek into Karen's bedroom. The same thing, they took a picture of Dr. Umar Johnson speaking one day in a mall to this white girl. For what reason, we don't know, because he can cop all kind of pleas. But we understand that politics make strange bedfellows from time to time, and you will find the sincerity in people and what they do on a daily basis, not necessarily what they talk about, you know. But these guys are, to me, when they're on CNN and stuff like that, they are paid actors. They are paid actors, and sometimes attraction don't have no racial thing. You know, attraction is attraction for some fellas. And with this guy, he obviously was probably attracted to this lady, and off camera he was trying to haul at her, and it turned against him because he forgot one fundamental rule at the end of the day. A Karen is always a Karen, brother. They don't like you for you, and even if they sleep with you, you are just a showpiece for them for a time. You know, you are a showpiece for a time. So, you know, you need to act and engage these people very wisely. Use your brain, brother. Use your brain. That's what I would say. The brain on top of your head. But I'll leave it there, Coco. I'm interested to know what my American brothers are gonna say, because this is your politics, bro. So I really want to know what y'all got to say about this.
Thanks for that, Juan. I think Anthony wanted to add something. Just unmute your mic, Anthony.
Yeah. I was just listening to Juan talk what Juan was saying. This is one thing we got to realize about Michael Eric Dyson. Like Juana, he's not a race man. No, he's nothing like that. He is I would put him in the category of like a Dr. Cornel West. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, they I mean, to a degree. I mean, no, West may have a little bit more a little bit more consciousness. You know, I mean, I take that back. Neither one of them have consciousness like that. But those guys are what I call like a militant integration. You know what I'm saying? He's not a race man.
I hear you. Yes.
Yeah, he's not a black nationalist or a pro-black or none of that. He's one of those guys like an all lives matter type dude, but from a black civil rights point of view. You know what I'm saying? Everybody should be equal. Everybody, I respect the whites and women and gays and everybody else, and all people. That's the kind of guy he is. Now you get to talking about because I've listened to him for years and years, and I've heard him say some egregious and grimy shit about black nationalism. You know what I'm saying? About brothers, about stuff about Malcolm X and other people. You know what I'm saying? He's not that guy. He's just one of those type of guys who could get his way onto a platform like CNN or whatever and say one or two things. Like I say, he's really like a mouthpiece for the Democratic Party. You know what I'm saying? And you know how some of them will throw every now and then they'll throw just a little bit black stuff up in there. A little bit, radical sound and stuff up in there. Not too much, just a little bit. But he's not that guy though, man. He's the type of dude, man. Like I'm saying, they probably were right. He probably was trying to shoot at the ugly white girl. You know what I'm saying? That's all I wanted to say though, man.
Appreciate that, Anthony. Yeah, he's kind of in that vein with Sharpton and them, if I'm to be honest. He speaks well about some things, but he's not going to be militant black. In fact, KW Don 7 in the chat earlier said Michael Eric Dyson is an integrationist, assimilationist joker. Erzuli is in the chat. He said that brother Buana's starving for some chocolate. That's not a bad thing at all. Takru asks, Buana, you won't defend the brother? And then Erzuliism says, hold on, my computer froze. Erzuliism says, bro, this man is a sexual deviant. How are you fighting against racism? That lady is a Republican. You are married, but your old ass can't hold that until at least the election. But Bakari adds that this guy, Michael Eric Dyson, said he told black people a long time ago to embrace being called an N-word. Wow, I didn't know that.
Hold on. How is it that a 5-star deviant like Erzuli calling somebody a sexual deviant?
Get him.
Erzuli, come up and defend yourself, brother. Come up and defend yourself. But that's good stuff there. Earlier in the chat, Black Steel said he's cooked. Talking about Michael Eric Dyson. With that said, Black Steel, was this brother starving or was he just trying to be nice?
Well, I guess he left his he was obviously flirting with this woman, right? And I guess he left it ambiguous enough. It's not like he sent a dick pic, right? He was just complimenting her, trying to, it was inappropriate, but in his stupid ass mind, maybe he felt, I'm just reaching across the aisle and none of that other crap. That's my problem with some of these militant integrationists, right? That they're willing to reach across the aisle to anybody, right? Even your enemies. This whole thing about, the better angels of our nature, compromise. So Dyson is a long time Democratic shill, right? He was all up Obama's ass. And one thing I will say different between Dyson and Cornel West is that Cornel West would speak out against some of the more egregious crimes of the Obama administration, right? I will give Cornel West that. He was not afraid to say the truth about President Obama. And I think that Dyson, and along with a lot of these Democratic shows, they're always pushing the lesser of two evils. And really, the reality is that they've been pushing the lesser of two evils for so long that it's really kind of hard to tell, where one ends and one begins. They look very similar in a lot of cases. The whole hoopla about pronouncing Kamala Harris's name correctly, right? Pink Book said that's a deflection about talking about serious political issues, and I think that's a very good point, because the idea is that the Democratic Party is more inclusive. They have more people to help. They want to be a voice for all Americans, right? But at the same time, like, you're financing a genocide. So the idea is that, oh, we're pronouncing her name wrong, but you're financing a genocide. What's really more important in the big scheme of things? Genocide, or are we saying your name wrong? And I think that that's something that they talked about this too on the Breakfast Club interview with Jill Stein and Butch Ware, the two Green Party candidates. They were making a big, Angela Rye was making a big thing about her pronouncing Vice President Harris's name wrong. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to say Vice President Harris's name wrong, right? But the idea was that they're so hung up on the performative bullshit, right? They're not really getting down to the meat and potatoes of the issue, right? So that bothers me, is that we're so caught up on, inclusion, using the right pronouns, all that other nonsense, that we're not really dealing with some of the true issues that are facing this. For example, she said she's going to make it against the law to do price gouging. So anybody who has a rudimentary knowledge of the executive branch knows the president doesn't have the power to do that. Let's see. They have the power to sign or veto legislation, command the armed forces, convene or adjourn Congress, grant reprieves and pardons, and receive ambassadors. They don't control the economy, right? The presidential, now they can make an executive order. What kind of executive order is going to prevent price gouging? I'm confused about that. But it sounds good, right? And then the Kamala saying, "Oh, look what she's doing. She's trying to help us." She doesn't have the power to do that. Even within the confines of the executive office, she can't do that. All right. It's crazy, because it's just, again, I understand exactly what she's saying. That's not what, and that's what they were trying to push back on during the interview. And then they got hung up on how to pronounce her name, right? So you see the grift where it comes from. Michael Eric Dyson, again, I'm not a fan. He's very, again, militant integrationist, Democrat. He is who he is. He says some things that are good. He says some bullshit, really, a lot of times. So we kind of know what side of the fence that he goes on. He just reminds me of some old preacher, who just kind of says what he needs to say to people coming to the congregation on Sunday. But overall, I think it was a bad look for him to do this. Like, you could have said nothing, bro. Saying nothing is always an option. Sometimes it's okay to just shut up. And I didn't know he was married. What makes it even worse, you're a whole married man trying to shoot your shot at this woman. And even if you say it was just friendly banter, you were just flirting, bro, you probably had grandchildren. Why are you out here doing this? This is ridiculous. So I'll leave it there, man. He fucked. That's why he's over there trying to clean it up and explain. He fumbled. I'll leave it there. Thanks, Koku.
Yeah, he knows for sure. In the chat, Azuliism was out there talking his stuff. I invited him to come up, and he came up. Azuliism, how are you this week?
Yo, I'm fine. First of all, I only came up because Bwana trying to play me. First of all, I'm not a sexual deviant. And then you have the nerve to say 5-star. Why are you confusing me with Oni? I don't even understand.
Catches phrase ain't even here.
He's a gold medalist, Olympian deviant.
Boy,
a Division I sexual deviant.
But I agree with what everybody said. This is crazy. My thing is, men are gonna be men. I don't agree with anything what he did or whatever. But my man, you don't have all that doctorate you got, all that. I'm a PhD. I write books. Author. You didn't think that. Let me not send this text. Let me not try to do anything. You thought that woman was gonna keep that in her back pocket while she's going against the candidate that you are telling the whole world to vote for? And this is it again. This is why I tell people, yo, they are playing us, yo. They are playing the people, because at the end of the day, this guy knows whether Kamala gets elected or Trump get elected, he's gonna be fine. These people are playing us. They talk all that shit in front of people. Somebody said that they talk black and sleep white. All of that thing. And the most embarrassing that the brother just said is that you have a wife. Yo, F that you have a wife. You sending this to another person, and you're not a regular person. I could understand if you was not in the open like that, so that nobody would have known about this. So now you, like Bowana said, you think that lady right there is gonna hold that mine of gold in her pocket? I would have used that one too. I don't even blame her. You accuse her of being racist. You accuse, again, like we were saying, they were, like the brother just said, we were talking about price gouging. So yeah, purposely. And guys, look what they did. They purposely rallied around you're not pronouncing Kamala. I can't even pronounce. Sometimes I say Kamala, sometimes I say Kamali. I don't know the correct pronunciation, right? Which Goku said, I understand. All right, give her the respect. Trying to pronounce it. When you just said, I don't have to pronounce her name right, all right, that was a little bit out of pocket. But all these black people leached on to the Eric Dyson thing, and it just took the whole conversation away from what we were supposed to talk about. And then after that, you had the balls to go and DM this lady? Guys, there's something wrong with this man. No, I don't understand how you thought that this lady, or unless they had dealing before, unless they, like I said, they talk black and sleep white, maybe they hung out before. Maybe he didn't think the lady was gonna do that. And look what the lady did. And that's not even a race issue. I think if Eric Dyson was a white man and did that to a black woman, the black woman would have done the same thing. How are you talking about all of this and you DMing me? This is just like a regular person thing. And then he goes and he write a whole fake ass poetry, he's wearing a hat, pretending to be hip hop, all of that. Why are people like? And this is the problem is, we all see this. Black people are gonna see this. They're still gonna forgive this guy. Oh, that was nothing. And I heard somebody talk about, what's the other guy named? Cornel West. Cornel West had the nerve to have a master class on YouTube called Black Love, and he's not even married to a black woman.
That is crazy. If that's true, Razuli, that's nuts. That's nuts.
Google it.
Yo, that's balls.
Yeah,
That's balls.
See if Cornel West is married to a black woman.
Yeah, he's married to a white woman.
If she's not white, she's Armenian or one of those Berber type of people. So, and Cornel West had
he had a master class on black love. He had a master class on black.
remember YouTube used to have those things talk about master class. I swear to God, I was watching YouTube. They gave a commercial. He's talking about master class on black love. This man is not even married to a black woman. Yo, I'm sorry. I know people don't like when I say certain things. Yo, but they playing us left and right. The right is playing us. The left is playing us. At the end of the day, all these people are looking out for their own self. Because Eric Dyson is going to be all right. Whether the price gouging is going up, whether this is going down. All Sharpton, all these people, Trump, Kamala, they're all going to be all right. I'm just saying that we have to find somewhere to hold these people to the fire. Like when you do something like that, you can't be coming. Nobody should be giving you $10,000 to come speak to a college. When you do certain stuff like that, nobody should be supporting you because you're lying to us, and that goes on both sides. So that's all I have to say.
Appreciate that, Razuli. I'll just add this. Brother Bakari in the chat says people who don't pay attention think they rallied around pronunciation of her name. I'll give you that because it really was about, they was addressing the disrespect of this white woman to a black woman. I'll give you that, Brother Bakari. I will say though, they could have just let that conversation kind of rock, correct her, and get back to the deets. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, they could have kind of let that rock, correct her like how he's correcting her here, and then she says, "Oh, you're calling me a racist?" But they could have gotten back to the talking point at hand much faster, in my humble opinion.
But Coco, what Blacksteel said was very true. Because for me, the issue of price gouging and the fact that this president, the vice president, did not have the power to create any legislature to stop price gouging is much more important than the pronunciation of. Do you know they call Obama all manner of different names when he was in office? Matter of fact, even after his presidency, they still calling Barack Obama by crazy names. What is relevant is the point of policy. Price gouging, we just had a pandemic where shop store owners was engaging in massive price gouging during times of extreme situations that we encounter. You have hurricanes in South Florida where the price owners price gouge. We just went through a pandemic where store owners was price gouging with services and products and things like that. Don't you think that's a much more relevant and important discussion than the pronunciation of the vice president's name? If this is all a Democrat, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican, but I'm saying that if this the hill that the Democrats are standing on, the annunciation of a person's name, as opposed to standing on policy, whether certain policies are going to be implemented or not, they are in big trouble. Well, let me not say that, because it seems to me like nowadays people vote emotionally rather than based off a reason. But I would think it would be a much more important issue to discuss whether this person could actualize stopping price gouging or not. That's much more important than whether I pronounce it Kamala or Kamala. That it makes no sense to me. But I'll leave it there, Coco.
You see, Juan, to your point, you mentioned during the hurricanes in Florida. So that's an issue that would really be handled by the states, right? That would be a state issue. That's not necessarily a federal issue. That's something that would be done by the state. The problem is that most Americans are very poor, have very poor civic literacy, right? And I know this because I teach American government. That's one of my classes. But the reality is a lot of people don't really understand how the government works and what can be done within the confines of the government. So I think just like when Trump says certain things to his base, right? They're going to ban this, they're going to do that. He doesn't necessarily have the power to do that, but it sounds so good to his base that they'll vote for him. And I think that's kind of what the Democrats are doing as well. This sounds really, really good. Can they do it? No, they can't. But how dare you talk about that black woman's name? And I think that so many times that many of the policies that are done by the Democrats, right, they shroud it and they want to protect it with blackness. So if you criticize a policy, you criticize blackness. For example, back when Obama was president, right, it was really, really hard to speak out against Obama, coming from somebody who was at first an Obama supporter, then over time, and I was very vocal against him. Any type of criticism, comment against Obama, oh, well, it's because he's black. You let all these other presidents do all this stuff, and you didn't have nothing to say. No, you know. So in a way, they're insulated from any type of criticism because of their blackness. And I'm not going to say Kamala Harris isn't black. Isn't black. I don't know if that's the discussion we're having right now. But the idea that the president is, any criticism that comes towards the candidate because of their skin color is motivated by racism. When Obama bailed out the banks, during the 2008 housing crisis, what did Obama do? He gave the banks that caused the crisis in the first place, he gave them more money. But then if you said something about it, oh, well, he's, you got something because he's black. It's crazy. It's really crazy. Oh, that's Cornel West's wife? Okay, she black adjacent. No, I'm joking. That's a whole Arab. No, she's Iranian. Oh, she's Persian. Oh, she's Persian. Oh, okay. All right. I'm done. Thanks.
Black steel. Could the
Yes, sir.
issue be could the issue in some people's minds be, in their minds, black equals Democrat? Because
Yes.
I'm thinking
Yes.
because if a black person with Republican talking points, if a black person have Republican talking points, what would be the criticism then? What would be the criticism then? Because you can't say, well, you're criticizing him because he's black. So what's the criticism? What's the criticism? He racist? Yeah, I mean, so
Well, I think the problem is that
go ahead, bro.
the Republicans are just so openly racist that you can't really. I mean, it's a full-blown Klan meeting every time Trump has a rally. So the Republicans are just so racist. And I'm gonna tell you this. I may go off on a tangent here, but I'm gonna say this, right? So there's no real left party in the United States. There's no left. I mean, there's no major political party that's left. The Democrats are a center-right party. And what happened was this, especially around the presidency of Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton took a lot of the Republican Party's platforms because the Democrats wanted to appeal to some of the more, they wanted to try to get that white vote, that Southern vote, right? So many of the policies that Clinton espoused came from the Republicans. So that left the Republicans with a dilemma. Do they move further left or do they move further right than the Democrats? So at this point, the Democrats are more of a center right and the Republicans are damn near fascist. So you have that left-right spectrum, when the furthest left, you got anarchy and the furthest right, you got fascism. So they're really on the far right when it comes to political ideology, as far as the Republican Party. That's why they sound so batshit insane, because a lot of the Democrats are trying to get that white male vote, because white men and white women are the majority of voters in this country. Look what happened. Even though Hillary Clinton had majority of black vote, she still lost because they tried to get those white male voters. And I think a lot of the things you hear from the Democrats are an attempt to reach across the aisle to the other side. And that's kind of what's so, when you hear, that's why people complain about the parties and who they're pandering to. It's like some of their policies are just, they sound too identical. And a lot of people have a problem with that. So I think a lot of these black Republicans, because the Republicans are so racist, like you got dude talking about he's a black Nazi and he wants slavery to come back. You got the Herman Cains, you got the Candace Owenses, you got all these black people on the conservative side. It sounds, the Tim Scott, it sounds crazy.
Yes.
It sounds insane.
Yes.
And then when you compare,
okay. But
go ahead, sir.
I hear that. I hear those Republicans, right? But you have people like what's the guy's name? Who was the Jamaican guy who was in the military, the older guy who was in the Bush.
Colin Powell.
You have the Colin Powells of the world. okay, who seemed to be level-headed. You had Condoleezza. Oh, let me finish. Hear out. You had the Condoleezza Rices of the world. You had some Republicans. Well, and let me also say this: socially, most Black people in America are conservative. Socially,
Yes.
socially.
Yes.
So when the Republicans talk from a social standpoint, we want to build strong families. We have an identity, the church, state, or Christianity, all these other kinds of things like that. It resonates with many Black people because socially, many Black people are conservative. So I'm saying that on the other spectrum, you have the Democratic Party, who talks about sexuality, who talks about gender changes and all these other kind of pronouns and things like that. You have them talking about many things socially that Black people are not aligned with. So I'm saying to myself, sometimes when I hear the conservative talk, I respect that. I respect that. So me and brother Ricari had a conversation about this before, and he agreed with me. So I haven't, but the difference is that the Conservative Party of today, I feel, is taking it one step further with this Trumpianism nonsense, like they did with some other leaders in the past, where they take this race issue too far. I think they're taking it too far. And now to align yourself with the Republican Party, you have to be, to me, you have to be a fucking white supremacist. Let me the cuss. You have to be a white nationalist to be aligned with the Republican Party of today. And I feel like this is where they go too far with conservative values. That's what I think. Standing from a distance.
I agree with you. I agree. And I think that now I would say this too. I think that Black people do tend to be socially conservative, but they also understand that conservative, at least in the vein of America, usually means they're trying to maintain the status quo, right? And the maintenance of the status quo has always meant the disenfranchisement of Black people. And this is what many of us we understand this to be the case, that the idea of they want to return America to a time when we weren't so divided. When was that? Give me a year when that was the case, right? They really want to go back to a time before the civil rights movement, when Black people were too afraid to speak out, is what they really want us to shut up. That's why there's so many attempts to undermine diversity, equity, inclusion, affirmative action, all that other stuff, because they want to roll back the clock. But they really want to go back to before Brown versus Board of Education desegregated schools. That's what they really want. That's the goal. If you let Clarence Thomas tell it. So many conservatives long for that time, but most Black people are like, nah, we can't. Even though we don't like the gay marriage and the pronouns, we don't want to go back to then. So that's why so many Black people tend to go towards the Democrats, only because the other party is just batshit crazy. And I completely understand why. I don't agree with it, but I understand why they do it though.
Well, if I was Black people, I would rather go back before that, because you know why? When you look at
Jesus Christ,
when you look at statistically, Black people were more married. Black people had their own business. Black people were teaching their own children. Black people were, even though we could understand. I could understand what you're saying. You're saying that it was a dangerous time where Black people were, but statistically, Black people had their own school, their own hospital. Black people were working more together. Black people were more. The communities were less the way they are now. Black people were more conservative back then. It's when Black people started going through the Democratic Party that Black people started being so liberal and stuff like that. So you said Jesus. I'm just saying that.
I mean, so I think sometimes
I'm just saying. Let me finish, brother.
Go ahead, brother.
I'm just saying statistically, like Black people were doing. I'm not saying Black people were doing superb, but Black people were put. Explain to me how Black people was. The inventors, a lot of the thing that created in the world, Granville, Teawood, Washington, That brother was before the civil right. Yes, they stole a lot of his patent. Yes, I'm not denying that, brother. But I'm just saying, going back. I feel that back. I'm not saying to go back. I'm saying let's go back to the unity we had back then. That's what I'm saying. If to clear it up.
Well, I think we can have that unity. I think sometimes when we talk about those, especially during like those Jim Crow times, I think sometimes we don't always look at the full story because, especially during like the 1920s, 1930s, lynchings were common. Black people would starve to death. Like they would literally die of starvation back then because we didn't have our. I mean, yeah, there were a few black people. We had unity because we had nothing else. We was either that or starve. So I think the reason that many of us fought for those rights was just for our very survival. Because at that point we didn't have anything. This I can speak for Black Americans. All of us was not doing well. You know, malnutrition was an issue. Sharecropping was an issue where Black people didn't have they couldn't even leave the land that they worked on, getting paid 5 cents a day. Let's not romanticize. Times was hard. They had Black schools, but the schools were poor. They weren't funded. The hospitals were not funded well. A lot of this was not good. I think what I think happened, Azuli, is that initially the civil rights movement was a grassroots movement for Black people to have equal access and have the same facilities that white people had. They wanted it to be equal, right? But then you had the Black bourgeoisie. They wanted equality with white people. So it wasn't enough that the Black schools and the Black hospitals were the same, were equivalent to what white people had. It wasn't enough that Black people be left alone and allowed to grow without repression. They wanted to be integrated within the larger white society. And I think that's kind of where we lost focus. Instead of improving ourselves, the desire to be integrated into this burning building that we call the United States of America.
Let's welcome in Brother Bakari. Brother Bakari, was that brother
I
starving?
What's going on? First, I wanted to say,
Yes, sir.
I think holding a conversation with anybody that's trying to cape for Trump in what MAGA is doing, this is just my opinion. I think that has just gotten a little stupid. Any Black person that want to figure out something good about any Blagger that want to figure out something good about Trump and MAGA, let them have it. I don't even hold that conversation right there no more. Just your blood pressure go up. If Black people want to look at one side and think the MAGA side is okay, and because we said all the negative stuff about Kamala and the Democratic Party, the pronunciation of her name, which don't matter. But the most important thing what folks don't talk about is damn Project 2025, what we about to be under. They just get passes for every damn thing. It's just crazy. You know, and my thing I've heard them talking about the civil rights movement. I think the problem is we look at the national civil rights movement instead of looking locally what you live and see what the civil rights movement did where you live, what those icons where you live and in your community, what they built. Yes, of course, nationally. What Black Steel said, some Black people, I ain't gonna say the Black bourgeoisie, I really don't even know what that is. This is some Black people that want to say they equal to white. It's some poor Black folk that want to say they want to be equal. But yes, they find some and they put them up on give them a position, and we tend to think, yeah, that's how we should go because we can listen to anything, the national voice. And a lots of time when we look at the civil rights movement, we look at what has happened nationally and we hear what they say and play, but we never, ever, 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 ever look at what's around us and what the people around us immediately in your city, in your town, who they'll never talk about on TV or the radio, who was a part of the civil rights movement and look and see what they did in the civil rights movement and see if it was good for you. So I learned I don't let the national movement, I don't let the national movement, I don't let the national movement, I don't even get involved in that too. I don't get involved in that conversation too much no more either. I just ask people, what about your local civil rights leader? Can you name somebody that was close to you that did something good? And I bet you most of the time the answer to that question is going to be yes. I can name this person did this person did that, this person did this person did that. And I think that's what we need to focus on, the unity that Azuli was talking about. Can we get the unity back? Yeah, but I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm just being honest with you. I ain't trying to unite with nobody that caping for MAGA. I'm being honest with you. I want to shoot Blagger just as bad as I want to shoot MAGA. I'm just being honest with you. Anybody coming to me trying to make excuses for Donald Trump and the KKK and the white nationalists, no, we can't unite. I'm just being honest. We look alike. That's it. We ain't on the same team. We are not on the same team, because I'm not gonna be on the same team with somebody who can sit. You got somebody who was once president ask, can he shoot those black people at the Black Lives Matter protest, who was protesting the murder of George Floyd, and we can figure out a way to say something, try to figure out a way to say something good about this side. I'm being honest. I'm not with them. So that unity would never, ever, 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 ever be with me. And I'm just being honest with you, because I ain't trying to unite with nobody who okay with people that want to shoot unarmed black people and try to make excuses for them. So for me, can we have unity? I think the ones that want to unite and the ones that want to work together, and it ain't even about if you vote Republican or Democrat. I'm strictly talking about MAGA. I'm strictly talking about them. But man, my daughter called me. I yield the mic.
Bakari, I appreciate that. I just want to be a little clear about some stuff. Like me personally, I'm not a MAGA, a maggot, or any of that, or black MAGA, or whatever. I'm not sure if someone on the panel spoke positively about Trump. And to be further clear, this prompt wasn't a knock against Kamala. This was really about Eric Dyson and his fuckery, going on this panel, scolding this white woman about the mispronunciation, backing down when she said, because he did back down and backtrack when she said, "Oh, you're calling me a racist," and then in her DMs, I don't know if it was the same day or the next day, right? And then she puts him on blast in a congressional hearing, I think it was. It's on record what he sent to her, which is just madness. So I just want to be clear for the listeners that this is not an anti Kamala prompt or anything. This is really about this guy and the fuckery that he did. Bakari had to take a phone call. Does anyone have any last thoughts on this prompt? All right.
Yes.
So should we start?
Yes. I have last thoughts. I have last thoughts. Koku, me and Brother Bakari, we have disagreements all the time, because his method and approach is different from mine. I wouldn't close the door to people who have different political beliefs than I do, because the hope is for me personally to draw them closer to me rather than me drawing them closer to them. So I don't have that hard and fast rule that Brother Bakari does, where he completely closes the doors to people, because I like to see where people are coming from. Yes, they may have. Listen, bro. All us, whether we want to agree with it or not, we on the plantation. We on the plantation, all of us. And to some degree, many of us have been conditioned in different ways. Many of us have been conditioned in other ways, in different ways. My experiences may be vastly different from your experiences. Okay? But when I see you, I see myself. This is the reason why I could sit down at the table and still have a discourse and conversation with people who I completely disagree with. Completely disagree. Because fundamentally, I promise you, within that conversation, I will find something within that conversation. I agree with you on that point. And it might not even be politics. you know. But I believe that I have the ability, if I feel like I'm right in my opinions and understandings about the world, that I have the ability to persuade a man to draw closer to me in my actions, in my words, and my conversation, rather than separating from them. I can't do that. I have no. This is where I stand right now. I may change my mind about it. You know, being around. I live in a black country, man. Because I can tell you, I understand I have an understanding where you feel like giving up sometimes on black people and saying forget them. You know. I have living that experience almost on a daily basis. But the challenge is still drawing closer to my brothers, even though they disagree with me on several different fronts. You know what I mean? Because I believe that I have the ability to do that, and so does Brother Bakari. And the only challenge I would challenge Brother Bakari with is sometimes you have to stall your emotions, because there's a bigger prize. Because if you win or convince a man who may feel differently in one day, if you convince him to your side, he'll forever be on your side. So I think that he should consider that from time to time. This is a silly season, and people get confused with all kinds of different informations they hear from all different sides, you know. And we have been conditioned as a people, first and foremost, that, you know what, there even is reconciliation with the FBA people of the world, because many of them are extremely ignorant. And you give them time, and you give them a certain amount of education and information, they could change their positions too. I don't know. That's how I look at the world. I might be completely wrong about it, but that's where I stand right now. So I can't close the door on people with differing opinions than mine. I just want to make that clear. And this stage is open to people who have differing opinions. I just want to put that out there.
I think I disagree with that, because I think when the house is burning, I don't have time to listen to you. If I'm right, I don't have time to listen to your retarded opinion. And I'm not talking about you, Boana. I'm just saying in general. And I think it depends on the age. If you're between 0 and 9 and 23 and 24, yeah, maybe. But I'm not a man who's a human being who's in their 30s, 50s, 60s talking against the people. No, you're done. I don't. That's a waste of energy to try to convince a man who's between 28 and up. I think that there should be a cutoff time. No. That's that ego talking, Boana. Oh, I think I could convince what? What? I think I could convince them to come to my side. The house is burning, bro. We don't have time. That's what I think. But hey, anyway, Eric Dyson was starving. Nobody should take him seriously after this. Him and Cornel West, fake ass, running for president self. So that's it.
I think Anthony McPhail might have wanted to add something as well. Just unmute your mic for me, Anthony.
Yeah, brother Coco. I just wanted to pose something to Buana real quick. Okay, I understand where you're coming from. You know, and to a degree, okay, I understand where you're coming from. But I just wanted to go back a little bit and remind you that, say, during when we were enslaved, you know, I mean, not just here in the United States, but in the Caribbean, Central America, South, everywhere we was enslaved. One thing that the Europeans used, a trick that they used the old divide and conquer thing. And so what they did on the plantations, they would give certain of African men, they would give them some position as like an overseer. You know what we call like a straw boss. So who was him, and it wasn't just him by himself, it was other Africans with it, other brothers that they would have together, and they would be the guys who would keep the other Africans in line. I think I was reading about it was in Barbados. Because like Barbados was one of those islands in the Caribbean that was known as the Breaking Islands. The Seasoning Island was Jamaica, Barbados, they were Seasoning Islands. This is where when they bought Africans from the continent and brought them there, that's where they broke them and got them and turned them into slaves. You know what I'm saying? Broke their will. So what I'm asking Buana is this. If we, like you could see, you said, I'm going for what you said, we on the plantation. Okay, now, do you think that you could convince this other man on the plantation, this other African who is an overseer, who is one of the guys who are keeping you in line, who whoop your ass, beat your ass there, had you there for his master? You know what I'm saying? And probably, you know, and even though they didn't recognize our marriages, but you may have had a wife, your woman, no, she was your wife to you. No, he may have came in and had access to her, raped her, whatever. You know what I'm saying? When the slave revolt kicked off, would you say, "Oh, well, I'm gonna give him a pass, man"? No, man, I'm gonna kill his ass too. You know what I'm saying? He need killing too. So what I'm saying is, I understand where you're coming from, but some people you can't reason with. That's all I want to say.
Appreciate that, Anthony. Did you want to quickly respond to that, or can we go to the next topic?
No, I respect the brothers' opinion. No, I respect the brothers' opinion. Urzuli and Urzuli and Anthony and also brother Bakari. I respect the opinion. I just disagree. I just disagree. I am of the opinion because I think that in my life.
So, Buana, I'm gonna have to interrupt.
Well, let me finish.
No, hold on. Don't you ever say anything about 2 Cent no more. You just like 2 Cent.
Let me finish. In my life, I had the ability to reform myself, and I read like people like Malcolm X, them who had the ability to reform themselves. So I believe in the idea of reform in my head. Something that in the back of my head say you have the ability to reform. So that's why I stand with it. And maybe that's a weakness that I have. I don't think so, but I think that I have the ability to reform. And if I have the ability to reform, others do as well. That's where I stand with it. You know, I don't know if you all understand that, but that's where I am with it. You know.
Yeah, I get that. The problem with reform, and I've said this in the past, is that what damage did you do before you reformed? See, that's the thing that we don't often discuss. I've said it before. We let Snoop Dogg and them back into the community, but what damage did you do? What damage did Snoop Dogg do, for example? Not picking on Snoop, but what damage did you do in your youth that still is going on now? That is the underlying influence of what's going on now. Your reform doesn't really change the damage oftentimes, you know. But good discussion. Let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 3 for time's sake. Shoot the Breeze.